Whatever you're thinking, we think it.
Jason Statham is definitely one of those actors where when you watch any of his movies, you get kind of stuck in a dirty British accent. Folks, when it comes to the big, beautiful, bald action star, I think it's easy for all of us to default our minds to Bruce Willis. But with old Bruno being retired, it seems that there's a void needing to be filled. The void of the big, bald, beautiful action star. And thankfully, we have Jason Statham. Whether you recognize him from one of his massive franchise movies like The Fast and the Furious or Hobbs and Shaw, or you know him from smaller action fare like The Beekeeper or A Working Man, or if you were a Red Bull chugging teenager watching Crank and thinking that that was a life worth living, I relate to you either way. So I thought it'd be a good idea to dedicate an entire episode strictly to what the happened to Jason Statham. I'm gonna pass it over to the one, the only Taylor James Johnson, and we're gonna get into it. Let's go.
As this young athlete prepares for his jump, he thinks to himself, "Do I got what it takes? Of course I do." Then he leaps, does a few little flips, and takes the ultimate plunge, splashing into the water with nothing but excellence and grace. But where does young Jason Statham go from here? How many more of these jumps will he take? Well, he'll hop into male modeling for a bit, and then dive head first into cinema, ultimately becoming one of our most respected action heroes. And actors, I guess. But yeah, when you think of Jason Statham, what's the first thing that comes to mind? If it's a fit, bald dude beating the stuffing out of a nameless goon, well then good, we're on the same page. Range is not exactly Mr. Statham's forte. What I'm saying is that, yeah, he plays the same character in every movie, basically. So the question is that a bad thing? Or is that a good thing? Or is that a frickin' amazing great thing? Or I guess all of the above is an option too. Because whatever Jason is doing, it's good enough for us and it's good enough for his millions of fans. The man has been consistently kicking butt for decades now, and he may be kicking harder than ever now, because the dude never changed. He stayed true to himself. As Frank Martin in The Transporter said, never change the deal. So yeah, let's find out what the fuck happened to Jason Statham.
Everyone, need your attention, please.
But to truly understand what the happened to Jason Statham, we must begin at the beginning, and the beginning began when he was born on his birthday, 1967, England. As you know, he was a natural and gifted athlete, competing in everything from football to diving, for which he would later be inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame. But it was the silver screen that he was destined for, with a gruffy yet composed demeanor, and a really nice shaped head that, you know, made a lot of guys go ahead and take the plunge and shave their head. So yeah, just one look at this dude and you knew he meant business. And yeah, the characters he plays, they're all pretty much the same character, but you know what? He is a character himself, so that's totally okay. A lot of the traits and qualities and characteristics come from his real life lived experience, you know? And director Guy Ritchie saw that. He knew he could bring that authenticity, that realism to the screen. Which is why, in 1998, Jason and Guy Ritchie teamed up for the first time in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which absolutely helped shake up the film industry at the time, and all eyes were on all the guys who made this movie, especially Jason Statham.
I asked you to give me a refreshing drink. Wasn't expecting a fucking rainforest.
Who continued to work with Guy Ritchie in the movie Snatch, and in 2005's Revolver, also 2021's Wrath of Man. And he continued to work with this master filmmaker up until, you know, very recently, with Operation Fortune, or Fortune. It's one of the best director-actor collaborations that we've seen. Jason Statham would plow through a number of movies in his post-Ritchie breeze, playing yet another gangster persona in Turn It Up. He would appear in John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars, which I really want to like, but it's really not good. He was in a movie called Mean Machine, and went head-to-head with Jet Li in The One. Jason Statham would truly break in on his own with his first franchise, The Transporter, in 2002, playing Frank Martin, who quickly became his signature character, a former Special Forces op turned driver who sticks to a code as he weaves through increasingly escalating action scenarios. This would be followed by Transporter 2 and Transporter 3, and I think they made a Transporter movie without him and nobody gave a flying fuck. And if you care, his character may or may not appear in Collateral for a cameo or whatnot. He would eventually leave the Transporter franchise because the studio wanted to pay him less money. And Jason knows what he's worth. He's worth more money. But yeah, the Transporter movies, you can really see that Jason Statham is really there, really throwing those punches and those kicks with beautiful choreography, and he's doing a lot of his own stunt driving. It was so nice, so refreshing to finally have a movie star that you could truly believe could really do this stuff. He wasn't polished to perfection. He could be anybody. Just, the guy at the end of the bar. Some rough, gruff stuff there. Yeah, we loved it. The year 2003 would bring his first movie that grossed over $100 million, The Italian Job, where he joined an ensemble cast. Then you could see him pop up in movies like Cellular, London, and Wesley Snipes' Chaos. Those were all fine movies, I guess. He did alright in them, but nothing was taking him to the next level, He needed a hit, and that would soon come with those Crank movies and, of course, The Expendables, and Fast and the Furious stuff. He kinda got really successful really quick, and we didn't even, realize it, but the dude was everywhere, making it look so damn easy, too. And he knows it. So yeah, his next franchise was 2006's Crank, playing an assassin who has to keep his adrenaline up or he'll die. It's like Speed, and he's playing the bus, and he's on speed. And it's actually really innovative and really clever and fun and action-packed. It has so much energy. It's just an interesting styled movie. It's a wild ride for sure. It was so wild that they needed to make another one. Which is, pretty much just as good. Crank High Voltage. This time he needs electricity or something. So yeah, all of this was the perfect setup for Statham, who was positioning himself as the heir apparent to the likes of Arnold, Stallone, and JCVD, and all those other guys. More action-packed fun would come with 2011's The Mechanic. He then popped up in a movie that's actually underrated and pretty damn good called The Bank Job. He did the atrocious In the Name of the King, and went ahead and remade Death Race. But it was the year 2010 that proved to be very important for Mr. Jason. He was put alongside some of the best action stars that were still alive at that time, in The Expendables. Then of course we got sequels in 2012, 2014, and 2023, and even though there were so many action heroes in these, he was always a strong part of the narrative, a foundation to the story, and kind of the heart and soul of the franchise, and we didn't even realize it. But yeah, this solidified Jason in the pantheon of great action stars, holding his own and even surpassing the greatest of the greats. He gave us Blitz, Killer Elite, Safe, Hummingbird, Homefront, Parker, Wild Card, and it was actually kind of believable to see him go up against a Megalodon in The Meg, and The Meg 2. Then showed us all that he actually has a funny bone in the movie Spy, which is actually funnier than it needs to be. And he was doing all of this while never slowing down in those Fast and Furious movies that just keep on keeping on. But I'm really liking Jason Statham right now, in this current moment. It just seems like Jason Statham will keep doing what Jason Statham does, I guess. Walking tall, swinging tough, beating up any bad guy in his way, believably. Because yeah, in one of his latest movies, The Beekeeper, it was something of a return to form for him, in terms of quality. Like, the movie knows exactly what this guy can do, and he does it wonderfully. It is Jason Statham's John Wick, and I mean that in the best way possible. And then he went and did it again, working with the same director of The Beekeeper, David Ayer, right? With a movie that just came out, A Working Man. You know, doing the man on the mission, I'm gonna punch you in the face kind of stuff. And nobody, other than Jason Statham fans, had any faith in this movie, but it ended up topping the box office chart. I think it even beat Snow White, so
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
But yeah, this just shows that Jason Statham is what the people want. We want these kinds of movies. Just give us some cool dude doing some cool fighting, saying some cool stuff. Like, yeah, remember when movies used to be cool? So yeah, next year it seems he's gonna be in something called Mutiny, playing a former Special Forces tough guy who was pulled back into his former life. See, he knows the formula, and he knows it works, and he's gonna stick with it. I hope. So yeah, I believe nothing will change for Jason Statham. And no, he has no range, but I don't mean that as an insult. He figured out what he can do best, and he just did it. So yeah, it really does seem like Jason Statham is living by a transporter-like code. Always following rule number 1, never change the deal. So nobody should give a fuck about what the fuck happened to Jason Statham because he's doing just fine. Maybe even better than ever.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.